Hi, I'm Carl.
And I'm Ebony.
And
And this is The Loveless Marriage.
We want to welcome you back to the Loveless Marriage on another Monday, the Loveless Marriage podcast. Once again, my name is Carl Butler, here with my lovely wife.
Ebony Butler.
All right. This is now part 3 of our series, 13 questions to ask before I do. 13 questions to ask before getting married. Overcoming the trap of just being in love without asking questions.
The love trap.
Love trap.
The thirst trap.
So before we begin, we want you to like the video, subscribe to our channel so that you'll be one of the first to know when we post a new video. Also, we want you to follow us on social media at The Loveless Marriage across all social media platforms. There you can see at the bottom of your screen on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, The Loveless Marriage.
Yes.
So today we're jumping back into 13 questions to ask before you say I do.
I do.
And now we're looking at question number 10 for those of y'all who have been joining us for the series. If you have not watched the previous 2, go back and watch the previous 2 after this video. There'll be a link to it at the end. And question number 10 is this. How do you say I love you?
How do you say? Like the Bible says, who do men say that I am? Hallelujah. I felt a little churchy. But no, seriously. How do you say I love you? Like, what is your way of letting your significant other know that this is how I express myself? You know, how do you know all of the ways that they express yourself? Because Carl and I have talked about it a little bit about the 5 love languages, but that's a true, actual, factual 5 wonderful things. And if you all have been following us on our pages, every day for 28 days, I've vowed to give out helpful hints and tips on showing your partner doing things. And they all actually are all of the 5 love languages. I hit all 5 of the love languages because what may work for you may not work for them. What your 5 love languages is, you know, everybody's are different. They are words of affirmation, physical touch, Jesus, the last 2, they just escaped me that quick. Quality time.
Okay.
What's the other one? I
don't know.
I can't remember because my brain. But no, look up for acts of service. Acts of service. Acts of service, and then there's another one. We'll think about it as we.
Something about shopping.
Ain't no shopping. Gifts. Gifts. Something about shopping. But pick up his book. His name is Gary Chapman. It's a very powerful book. And that just helps you learn your spouse. So what Carl may need, you know, my ways of showing him that I love him. Because, you know, love is not always verbally saying I love you. Yeah. Love is action. So what actions are you showing your spouse and your significant other that, hey, you're important to me. You know, our relationship matters. You know, how are you meeting their love language needs and how are you meeting their needs as a person? You know, and that's something that Carl and I, when we dated, we talked about it briefly, but it wasn't until, and I will say this sometimes, it's not until you get married is when it's really fully exposed. And then that's when you have to really work at that thing. You know, I can tell you, you know, I can tell Carl what are my 5 love languages. And in the beginning, I would say one of them was really hard for you because you weren't used to that. So you have to give that relationship space and time to grow in order for your spouse or significant other to make it evolve, to make it work for you all. And then ask them, am I meeting those needs? You know, for one woman, like we always say, every relationship is different, you know, so giving gifts, you know, buying her flowers, you know, for your new, I'll say your new, she might not need that. You know, she might want quality time. So for her, you know, you turning your phone off, you look at her in your eyes and y'all talk, you know, you guys are conversing back and forth, you know, you're with each other, you're driving in a car. She might need that. Yeah. So you have to learn how to meet that need And like we always say, marriage is not about you anymore. So you become selfless. So honestly, learn and recognize and see it. And when they do show it, appreciate them. Let them know, baby, thank you for, taking that trash out, for the acts of service. You might be that girl or that guy that you like, man, my girl, she got my oil changed. Like, that's what's up, It sounds corny, but you might be that person. Or, words of affirmation, you might be that woman that, who loves it when her husband's like, baby, you beautiful. Or I love it when you wear that lipstick. Or I love it when you get your hair done. I like that fresh haircut. Whatever you got to do it. Because at the end of the day, this is what you've, stood before God and your friends and your family to say, I love you and I do to you forever.
Yeah. And a lot of people, they don't talk about this question. They just assume that the person's going to know. They're not going to just read you just because you are a certain way.
Right.
You have to tell them, and this causes a lot of problems in relationship because a lot of people think that they don't love me because they don't tell me.
Right.
But some people are not conditioned to tell the person. They're just conditioned to show. Acts of service. Some your mate may need words. They may need to hear it. And I often joke with Ebony. I'm like, so you just need me to tell you I love you. So even if I was running around doing stuff, as long as I say I love you, you're good. Like, it don't matter if I come home, you're good. I just say I love you. But no, like some people need to hear those words. Some people need to see the act. Some people need gifts to prove it, and that's fine. But whatever your spouse's love language is, you need to learn that because a lot of things are lost in translation. It's not the fact that they're not speaking the language. You're just not hearing it because it's a different language.
Yeah, you're not speaking the right language.
Yeah, you're not speaking their language.
Right.
And so it's not the fact that they don't love you. They just don't know how to express it the way you want them to express it. So you have to tell them what you expect. And as we've said on all three of these videos, is that we're not trying to tell you what to do. We're just trying to tell you to have the conversation. Make sure that you're having these honest conversations.
Yes.
And be honest with each other. Don't lie. Don't come in saying you're one thing and you're really not. Or that you need words and you really need gifts. Be honest.
It's okay.
That's you. So just learn to be honest with your mate, with the person that you say you love.
Right. And I will say this for a person, because like Carl and I, one of my love languages is words of affirmation. And I know, Carl, I joke with them sometimes. I'm like, you can write all these books. But when it comes to me, I might fuss, but I have to learn. I tell him, and I've joked, say, Google certain things. If you can't always, like, baby, I can't, I know I love you because you're my girl. And, he'll tell me, you're everything that I asked God for. I'm like, so what you ask God for? I'm being silly, but no, sometimes a person needs to hear that. So I tell them, Google certain things, Google is your friend. There's so much technology on words, and if he doesn't always verbalize it, if your spouse sends you pictures or texts you or sends you a quote from a writer, that's their ways of giving you your words of affirmation. Be thankful, be grateful, be receptive. I know what Carl does, that he started doing it recently. And I've told him, like, through our relationship, we've done activities and he was taking pictures. And one trip was we took for his birthday. We went to Chicago and we sat on, it was so funny. We were on top of, I think it was Sears
Tower.
Sears Tower. And he's such a fraidy cat. And I'm like, come on, boy, let's go out here. And he said, and I wasn't thinking about it, but he sent it to me and said, I would have, thank you for sitting on top of the world with me. That touched me. Like, yes, like he's glad I'm in his life and I'm here with him. To somebody else, it may be corny because they might not need that word of affirmation. But for me, he recognized, like, this is what my girl needs. So I'm stepping out of myself to do this. And, I know what Carl needs. So, I'm quick to hold his hand, or I'm quick to, give them knuckle sandwiches in the head, or to touch them or knock them out, or whether
knuckle sandwich.
Knuckle sandwich.
How old are you?
No,
come here, buddy, give you a knuckle sandwich.
Right. No, but like for physical touch, but you learn your partner, you learn what works for them. If it's something, it could be something that's coming up behind them while they're doing dishes, kissing them on the neck. It could be, buy her a card. You might not always can verbalize it, but buy her a card. Cut the grass, spend that quality time, buy them pair of shoes that she wants. Do whatever they need, because it makes for a much easier and delightful and comfortable life together.
Have the conversation.
Talk about it.
Why you love me, and how do you express that you love me? So, question number 11, I believe we're moving on to.
Number 11.
What do you admire about me, and what are your pet peeves with me? I hate this question.
Oh my God. Lord, it's like pulling teeth from a bear.
Babe, why do you love me, babe? Why do you
That's right.
care for me, babe?
Right.
Right. Babe, do you love me, babe? Yes, I love you.
Don't say it like that either. Don't say it like that.
Now it's funny because as soon as she has a question, I'm like, yes.
He be like, yes, he hits the button. I be like, for real, that ain't even come from the heart. You playing games with me. But no, let her finish the question, or him. Let him or her, whatever. Some men need affirming by their women.
You right.
They might need that, like, baby, you the man. Like, ooh,
you right.
Thank you. Thank you, baby, for telling me I was right.
Yeah.
But no, but nothing's wrong with telling your spouse, I tell Carl one thing I love about him, and somebody else is goofy, but I love your mind. I can sit down and I can talk to him about the word or about the Bible, and how he breaks it down and dissects it. To me, it's a little sexy. I love it. Like, yes. To some other woman, it doesn't important, but I love his mind. I love that my husband's very innovative. I love that he can sit down and do different things on the computer, or I love that about him. I love his caring side, his compassion side. I love that he's confident. I love to see different things evolve. Like, I love that about him. I love the fact that he is driven and focused in areas that I need help in. I see that I can go to him and he can help me. And I think there's areas that if he maybe be deficient in, that he can look at me like, my girl is good in that, she got me, I love that. Like, I tell him, and I made it a point, because I'll share this with y'all. In my first relationship, I let that stuff kind of slide. I wasn't always being thoughtful. And one thing I realize now, you have to be intentional about communicating and letting your spouse know that you care. And I know what I'm about to say may seem cliche-ish because we've all heard it before, but what you won't do, some other person will. If you don't see certain things in your spouse, I won't say if you see certain things in your spouse and you don't address them and you don't praise them in that, somebody else will come along and tell them, like we had a picture one time of a marriage box, and I think we'll probably maybe find it and show it. It's whatever you put in that marriage box, whatever you deposit in the marriage, that box is what you'll get out or get in from it. And if you're not depositing nothing, you're not going to get anything out of it. And be intentional about how you pour in your spouse. And one thing I'll say this, that I do for Carl, and I know he probably notices, every week I send him a text and I let him know, like, I appreciate you doing this. I appreciate you, being a good man to my daughters. I appreciate the time you take. I appreciate the fact that you pray for us and you cover us. Like, I let him know, because I don't ever want him to feel like I don't see what he's doing. And his pet peeves, I tell him, he did, like, when we were dating, he had like a little quirky pet peeve that drove me crazy. God has since delivered.
We ain't gonna talk about it.
We ain't gonna talk about it, but it was funny. But it's okay. Like, it's okay to tell your spouse their quirks. You know, they might not even know that they have it because they've done it for so long, but it's okay. It's cool. Don't be so sensitive that you can't hear something that may be annoying
What's
about
annoying
yourself.
About you.
Right. Because we all got them. So.
Yeah, so be willing to have the conversation about what annoys you about that person, because listen, you got to spend the rest of your life with this person.
Right.
And if you just keep letting it go and you still annoyed by it, it's never going to get better until you address it. Like, it's never, they may not even know that they're doing it. Mm-hmm. Not only tell them what you admire about them, but tell them like what you would want to change. Like what annoys you. Like, listen, do you have to pop your knuckles every single 5 minutes? And I do it.
He pops more. He pops like body parts, and I'm like, that's not normal.
I pop knees. I pop ankles.
That your person just sits
knuckles.
there and rotates their leg, and you hear it. That's disgusting. That's just crazy to me. It's just crazy. But hey, whatever. I got to deal with it.
You know, I mean, let them know. Like,
let them know.
A lot of times people don't even notice
that they're
doing anything that annoys people. And once again, as we said in the last video, you know, what worked in the last relationship, what the last person was willing to put up with, if this person finds it annoying, just because nobody has ever said anything to you about it, doesn't mean it's not annoying. And so you have to be willing to check yourself, to be like, okay, well, that kind of hurt, but, you know, they find it annoying. It's kind of,
maybe I won't do it so much. You may do it, but don't do it so much, or maybe not do it around them.
Yeah.
And you'll be all right.
Yeah. So that was number 11, about tell your spouse like what you admire about them, you know. And I'll say this, telling them what you admire comes first, because you don't want to jump right in with, this annoys me. You know, you want to
suck.
You know, you want to praise a person first, and then kind of drop that hammer. But no, like, don't.
The hammer.
I'm just saying, like, don't
Be
go
gentle.
in. Don't go in with, this is what annoys me about you, but this is why I appreciate you. No. The appreciation comes first. Talk about all the things that you appreciate first, and then, you know, let everything else flow. Because you'll show them that I care about you.
Right.
And, you know, once you see that someone cares about you, you know, they may be more willing to change. They may be more willing to accept that they're doing something that possibly annoys you.
Right.
Oh, yeah. It's number 11. Tell them what you feel when you feel while you feel it in the sunshine.
The sunshine?
That's a song. You don't know that song?
I never heard that.
Okay. I feel what I feel in the sunshine.
Who sang it?
I have no idea. I like it, though.
No comment. Okay.
So as you can see on the screen, question number 12 is, are you a flirt?
Are you flirtatious?
This thing right here, boy.
Are you showing your friends to get out of tickets? Are you showing your friends to get free meals? Are you overly nice? Are you disrespectful in front of your spouse? You or significant other, you need to talk about that. Talk about it. I'll let you start on this one. Because Carl,
let you go, because
Carl,
you sound like you got something on your chest about that.
No, but seriously, you know, sometimes people have a really friendly personality.
Yeah.
And people will misconstrue that as, oh, they trying to get with somebody. No, they're just really nice and bubbly and friendly. But if the other person doesn't know that, you know, like I know one time you said, you're like, Ebony, people really think you like them. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, I just like talking to people. I'm like really nice and friendly. Now, you should be able to gauge when that friendliness is crossing over to, I'm about to holler at you.
Some people can't.
And I was about to say that. And some people can't gauge. Like Carl, for some odd reason, he doesn't know when somebody's flirting with him.
I cannot gauge it.
I'm like, come to the light, Carolyn, because I'm about to help you.
I cannot gauge it.
I tell him, let me help you. That person, don't try me.
She said it. I say, let me help you. At least once. And she said it. I was waiting on it.
Let me help you. I know. And I'm here to help. No, that's what you're not going to do. But you're not going to do. But Carl doesn't.
Here's the thing, though. And this matters. I'm going to say this because this matters. Ebony is from Ohio. She's from up north. Up north, I've heard people are not as friendly. I'm from Georgia. I'm from, we say we're from Atlanta, but no, we're in Georgia. Yeah. So I'm from College Park, Georgia. I'm used to that Southern hospitality, people just being nice. And I'm just used to that coming off as flirtatious, but it's not. We're just being overly nice. Like, I've held the door open for women.
Nothing's wrong with that. That's being respectful.
No, it is. But to some women that are not used to that, they'll think like I'm trying to come on. I'm like, no, I'm just doing this and I'm speaking because that's just how we are down here. And so I can never tell. And I told Ebony this. I'm the type, don't flirt with me, because if you like me when I was single, just tell me you like me. Because I'm not going to pick up on it. I'm not, unless you are laying butt naked across my bed, I'm not gonna pick up.
That's real extreme, Carl.
I'm just saying, I'm not gonna pick up the fact that you're flirting with me, because I come from a huge family. Like we said on the previous video talking about families. My mom has 9 brothers and sisters. My dad has 11. Everybody's just overly friendly and just hugging and just,
and it's a lot of sisters on your mom's side. It's a
lot of women. And so I'm used to being around a lot of women, and so it just doesn't register with me. I just think people are being nice, and so listen.
Now, and I got to help them.
Now I'm smart enough to know when certain things cross the line, but I just think people are being nice, and what's come of this is, I guess I've been in some phantom relationships that I didn't even know I was in, because I'm just being nice. And so I'm just saying,
you need to
know.
Some
people just don't know. And so don't hold it against them because you think they're flirting back. No, just being friendly. Like, that's funny. It's it's funny to me.
No, but there are some people that, like I said, I was joking before, that, have shown body parts, and it's overly nice and friendly to get out of tickets and to get free food and, get things. And their boyfriend, girlfriend might be like, supposed to be like, hey, have at it. Other people like, no, don't try me. I'm that girl.
I'm about to say, she's a don't try me type of person.
Don't try me. I feel like this. There's some things in life I'm just not willing to share. I will share food to a certain extent, but I'm not going to share the person I'm with.
That's selfish.
Jesus. If you could just read
the thought. So selfish.
If you could read the thought that just came.
How can you be so selfish?
I had to rebuke myself, because that thought was not right.
How can you be so selfish?
That word was wrong. But no, certain things in this life, I'm just, I'm just not willing to share. Yeah, that's what you're not going to do. I'm going to help you. You're not.
Say it again. That's what you're not going to do. Let me help you.
Some things you're just not going to partake in. Not on my watch side if I have anything to do with it. Now, if he leans to his own understanding and jack himself up, then have at it. But I think some men, to be honest, some men don't know when other women are flirting. Some don't recognize certain little cute hair flips or certain cute little lean in, because as a woman, you know how to position your body, you know how to lean in, you know how to make certain voice inflections, you know how to wear certain things, you know how to touch a person, you know how to do it. Don't play dumb stupid like you don't know how to, because you do.
But I've been in dating situations in the past, and a female will tell me, like, or being in past relationships, and a female tell me, you just don't stand there and flirt. I'm like, what are you talking about? You didn't see how she flipped her hair? You didn't see how she touched your arm? I'm like, we was having, like, what are you talking about?
You ain't got to touch somebody to have a conversation with them.
But see, here's the thing.
And I'm not talking, because I haven't had this, but because Carl knows I'm crazy.
My downfall is growing up around a lot of women is that's how they talk. They touch you, they hug you, they like, and that's. So it's just become normal to me, and I think that's a conversation to have also with your potential spouse, is along the same lines. Is, did you grow up around a lot of women? If you're talking to a man, because a lot of times there are a lot of single mothers, and so a man is not around, and so if he's grown up around his mom and her sisters, and he's got sisters. And he's just used to the kindness of females, and so you have to you have to take all that into consideration because he could honestly not know that he's a flirt or that, some people are flirts and they don't even know it because they're just like overly friendly and they just been doing it for so long that they just don't know.
Just because you've been doing it don't mean it's right. But no, it is something that needs to be talked about because some people get a little offended that you just sat here and flirted and we trying to eat dinner and the other person thinking that this person wants their telephone number and they're like, no, I'm just being nice. No, some people are overly nice. So just know the boundaries, set up the perimeters. Again, your significant other may feel okay with you flirting to get out that ticket or flirting to get that free meal or flirting to get that new outfit or haircut. However, you might be on that other side. That's not acceptable. So, and like Carl said, like even when he first started talking to me, he was like, some people you just have a way with people. And some people do have that presence. They do have that effect and it's okay. But even you need to learn how to use your gift.
And I think it's especially bad in the church because, me being a preacher, if I have to walk through a crowd and speak to everybody, you're shaking hands, shaking hands, you're hugging people. And some people perceive that as he likes me.
Like, he want to talk to me. Right.
I'm like, okay. Like, and that's the thing. So sometimes it's not the fact that the other person is flirting. It's the fact that some people perceive it.
Right.
And that can cause problems because, then that puts you in a situation where I ain't touching nobody.
Right. And I will say this too, and I know we'll definitely do a podcast about this. Women and men, you have to know that if your partner is in ministry, certain things come along with them being in ministry and them engaging with other people of opposite sex that comes along with them being in ministry.
And I think because it touches, it's kind of like rap stars, rock stars.
Right.
Music touches a very emotional place in us. And so when you go to that concert and you see that person on stage, you connect with them emotionally because they wrote a song or sung a song that touched you when you was at your lowest or that makes you happy or that gives you a certain emotion. It's the same thing in church.
Yeah, with preaching, definitely.
Preaching touches people in a very emotional and spiritual place that nobody else can reach. And it's not even the preacher, it's the word of God, but they're delivering it so it feels like it's them.
Right.
And when you're touching people's emotions and touching people in a very spiritual place, and then you walk by and you shake their hand or you give them a hug and you spend 2 minutes just asking them, how was your week? How was your day? That feels such an emotional void that sometimes they're going to think it's more than what it is.
They feel like that connectedness.
Yeah.
So even, I would say that, we're not talking about this, but we'll probably will on the podcast. Even, preachers and engaging women and men, you just have to be really careful.
Yeah.
You have to be careful how you engage, how you touch, the words you use, the things you say, because you might say, you might tell them, hey, if you ever need anything, I'm here. And they like, oh, you here? Okay. No.
People do crazy stuff like that too.
You might just be being nice because that's what, again, we do as people of God, children of God. That's not in any way a subliminal message for slide into my DM, come to my hotel room. They might just be like, hey, while you're here, at our church worshiping with us, if the usher can show you where the bathroom is. That's what that meant. It did not mean slide into my DM. I want to go out to dinner with you. Now, for some preachers, male or female, they have done that. That's a different podcast.
And some people are slick flirters. They
slick with it because they're trying to see where they can get
to where they can
and go.
They can have plausible deniability. Like they can deny, like, I never flirted with you, knowing good and well that they was just throwing a line out there
to see if they was gonna bait you.
Like some people are slick. Some people are really slick, and it sucks because it makes it hard for the genuine people,
right?
That really say, call me if you need anything, just how was your week? How was your day?
Right.
We're here for you. It's
true.
So you really have to. Once again, I grew up around a lot of women, and I grew up in the church. So it's hard for me to tell when people are like flirting with me. I just think people are being nice. And so, you know. She crazy.
I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. I'm sweet as pie.
Ebony will cut you.
Just don't try it. Then we all right.
Yeah.
Praise the Lord.
So, our last question, question number 13. As far as questions you should ask before you say I do.
I do. I do.
This is a very important question.
Right.
What is your purpose and what is our purpose? No, that should be what is your purpose and how do you think your purpose ties into our purpose? Pretty much. So, because
I'll let you talk on this.
Because I am the purpose merchant.
I am.
Please visit cebutler.org.
Yes, he does have a ministry event coming up March the 10th.
Yes.
We would love to see you
the
all.
Purpose experience.
The purpose experience. Yes. Go ahead, honey. Take it away.
But yeah, purpose is the cornerstone of why we're here. Like, if you don't know your purpose, the reason why you're here, the very definition of purpose is the reason why something exists. So number one, I believe that everyone who exists has a purpose, but you have to find purpose within yourself, because how can you be effective in a relationship and you don't know your purpose?
Right.
That means you don't know the reason you exist. And so it's kind of a dangerous thing not to even know your own purpose and then add another person into your life. And now you have no purpose for them. Right. One of the things that God gave Adam first was purpose. He said, tend the garden. That's your purpose. And so when Eve came along, God says, now she's going to help you achieve your purpose. And that's the danger in men not knowing their purpose. Right. Is that when God sends us, a woman sends us a wife, we don't have anything to give her to help us with. And so now she's lost wondering, we're lost wondering, and y'all are arguing every day because, y'all are just both idle. Y'all are just like, what do we do? Like, why are we here? And so your purpose should tie into the purpose of the relationship. And that's one of the things me and Ebony sat down and we talked about, what is our purpose? Where do you see us going in ministry? Where do you see us going, professionally in business? How does our purpose fit? And one of the things we said, which is this podcast is a fulfilling a purpose, is that we're going to help married couples.
Yes, it's an extension of us.
Yeah. When we was talking about it, I said I think both of our experiences are going to help those who have been through divorce, those who are thinking about getting married, those who have been married and thinking about divorce. You don't want to go through that pain if you don't have to.
Please.
And so, because going through a divorce feels like a death.
It is a death.
It feels like someone very close to you has died.
It does.
And it's not even about the other person. It's just the fact that you gave up so much of your life to this marriage, and now it failed.
Right.
And now you feel like a failure. You feel like, everything you've ever done has failed. But, there's life after that.
It is.
We would recommend if the marriage can be salvaged, go to counseling, do what you need to do.
Please.
Do whatever you got to do, because if you didn't get along with that person, guess what? The next person you meet, you got to now figure out how to love them all over again. Right. All these 13 questions, you got to do this with a brand new person. You don't know their negative traits. You don't know anything about them, but you got to do it with them again. And it's going to be the same result if you don't first find the purpose within yourself and then identify the purpose for your relationship.
And I'll say this, I guess you can look at it like this. You can actually, because we both said between us, we have almost 30 years of experience. Basically, 19 years is dissolved in a matter of 60 days. That's a real truth of how you got to look at it.
Yeah.
19 years is over in a matter of 2 months. Once you file for those divorce papers, you got to wait 2 months and it's over.
Yeah.
Your life that you've spent with someone is over in a matter of 2 months. And that's the cold, hard reality of looking at it. And you have to really think about it. Like I joke with me and Carl when we talk to people, we say, Nobody in their right mind just wakes up and say, oh, I want a divorce today.
For real.
Nobody does that. It's things that have progressively taken place over time that have went unattended, uncared for, neglected, and you're at your point of like, I don't know how we can do life together anymore. And that's what it is. Like I say all the time, it's those small foxes that kill those vines. So if you can attack, if you can kill, if you can bring under to subjection those small foxes that eat away at the vine, that's even in the Word of God. You can do it. You can make it. Like I tell my friends, there is nothing out here. If you find a good quality person the second time around, and Carl and I both said this to each other. I told God, if you give me a second chance, I promise you, God, I'll do right. If you give me a second chance, I'll learn from those mistakes. I'll be honest about my feelings. I'll be honest about the things that I'm fearful of. I'll be honest. And Carl, I'll say this out of my own truth. I had anxiety entering into being married again. And God has helped me. Like when I tell you, I was on 5,000 of levels of anxiety because I don't want this to fail. I'm like, I don't want this to fail. I want this to last. Like, I believe that I'm a good person. I believe that you're good. Like I was worried, and thank God that God has given me a person that can handle that. He understands that. Like I said, I'm getting better day by day. It's really like that anxiety has come down, but it is a very stressful thing to be with someone. And like I said, in a matter of 60 days, it is over. And like Carl has spoken about it. And even when he preaches, he talks about, him battling with depression getting out of his marriage. And I know what it's like to be depressed, raising 4 children, and it's a lot that goes into it. So if you can invest the time to stay in it, work it out, because marriage can be worked out. But both parties, like the Bible says, how can 2 walk together lest they agree? You got to both agree to work it out.
Because this dating pool sucks.
You're right. It's not. This ain't fun and games out here. People have died from going on blind dates. People have, you think you're going out to have a good time, and somebody else might not have those same intentions. And I will say this, we're talking about purpose. One thing I loved about Carl is he knew his purpose. And I could ask him and he could verbally tell me, this is my purpose. This is what I know I'm here for. I admired that, because I had talked to people that didn't know their purpose. We weren't heading, and I dated people that we weren't heading in the same direction, but because of certain things that I looked at the glitz and glam, like, okay, well, they got this, they got that. But no, our purposes oppose each other. And that's dangerous when you're walking with someone, when both of your purposes oppose each other. It's a deadly and dangerous thing. And I will say, like I said, I give my testimony sometimes. I say, when I saw Carl, when I saw him preach, like for the first time, something inside of me said, I want to help him become great. And I'm like, okay, that's weird, because I've never said that about anybody. I'm not thinking about this man because I don't know him like that. I don't talk to him like that. But something inside of me said, I want to help him become great. And I didn't know what it was.
And that speaks to purpose, because God says, Adam, I'm giving you her, and she's going to help you. When she looks at you, the first thought she's going to have is, how can I help him perfect this garden? How can I help him make this greater? And so, when you said that, and that, it just dawned on me when you were saying it, that was the first thought. It wasn't, I want to love him. It was, I want to help him become great, because that is that genetic code God has put in to when you find that person that's connected to your purpose. That is, I'm telling you, that's just purpose 101. That when you find that person, it's just, I want to help them be great.
And even in that scripture text, it says when Adam saw Eve, he knew that is bone of my bone. He knew instantly. So purpose, you being connected, it will identify itself. It will identify. You will be able to identify things, and you'll be able to see things, and And I'll say this, it was kind of cute when Carl, like I said, we weren't dating. We were just talking, and he had just got finished preaching, and he still had his clothes, he still had his shirt and stuff on. I'm like, and like I said, I was not trying to flirt with him, and he can tell you this was just me having a general conversation. I said, why haven't you changed your shirt? Like, did you say I'm lying?
She's lying.
Who was about to say, Lord had to bridle my tongue. He is being untruthful right now, trying to use a nicer word. But no, I told him, like, why haven't you changed your shirt? Like, why don't you have a t-shirt on? And then he did change his shirt. No, the second time you brought a shirt, but then you just had it in a bag. And I'm like, you need a garment bag. Like, what are you doing? And we were not dating. I was just like, dude, like, and I'm like, why am I giving him advice like this? I shouldn't be telling, and my friend's like, Ebony, cause you like, I'm like, no, I don't like him like that. I'm just trying to be helpful. I'm just, cause clearly he don't know. But again, different things that happen during the course of our friendship and our friendship and our relationship that has kind of, I want to say, God has given us that yes, God has given us those yeses. Like, this is a person who, I've presented you with, and you made the right choice, and it's okay that, and I'll tell a woman, it's okay if you're scared. It's okay if you're fearful. It's okay. We often ask God for things, and when he gives it to us, you're happy, but then there's a part you like, whoa, God, like, is this too good to be true? I asked God to have a person that was laid back. I wanted somebody that wasn't, I'm about to punch him. Getting on my nerves low key. That wasn't high maintenance. And I have that. And I'm like, and sometimes I ask him like every day, like, you sure you're okay? And he's like, I'm good. He's like, Ebony, I'm happy. I'm happy with us. I'm happy with you. I'm happy with the girls. Because it's like, Lord, this is too good to be true. So it's okay. And I will say, and even with our purpose together as a couple, that's one thing our pastor asked us both. He said, have you guys identified y'all's purpose together? Have y'all talked about it? He said, he talked about us, about leaving a legacy, like as a couple here on this earth. Mm-hmm. So I will say, even us doing this podcast is somewhat of us leaving our legacy here, and even being connected with purpose, is what can you draw from your spouse, and what can your spouse draw from you to help both of you all become better. Like, there's a lot of wonderful qualities that I see in Carl that can help me become better. I love reading. I love writing. I have sat on probably about 3 or 4 books that I have not written. And I will admit, I'm a procrastinator. My mom is probably about to give like 5,000 hearts on this. And I've had people to say, Ebony, when are you going to write a book? And I'm like, I'm going to get to it. But I promised this man, I said, 2018, I will release 1 book. I will do one. Like, I will do one. And even with me doing this podcast, like, he's helped me because I've been fearful of certain things that I believe that God has put in me, but I've been scared to do it because I'm like, I don't want to say I don't know, but like, Lord, are you sure? But he's given me, but it made me cry. He's given me that confidence within myself to say, you're good enough and you do have what people need. So I appreciate Mr. Carl Butler for that.
Aww.
Get on my nerves. Get on my nerves.
But no, anyway. Knowing purpose in a relationship, all the questions we've talked about 13 questions to ask before you say I do, before getting married. So you really need to consider all these questions and be able to answer all these questions, be able to have an open dialogue about all these questions. Before we wrap this up, I will go through all the questions. Question number 1 was, how did your family handle disagreements? 2, who's changing these diapers? So we having kids? Are you over your ex? Does your ex still have influence? How important is religion to you? Is my debt your debt? How y'all going to divide the separate debts coming into the relationship? What do you spend your money on? Can you handle your spouse having their own life? Do you like their parents? Do you like their siblings, their in-laws, your in-laws? Sex. Have a conversation about it.
How important is it?
How important is it to you? You know, some people don't want to have a relationship with a bad sex life, so you have to have those real conversations. How do you say I love you? How does that person express themselves to you? What do you admire about me? What are your pet peeves about me? Are you a flirt? And what is your purpose? And how does it relate to our purpose? Right. So these are some great things to have conversations with. This has been a 3-part video, and each video has been at least 45 minutes because the topics are just so rich, and we had to cut off on every topic.
Right.
Well, this could have been like a 5 or 6 part video.
Well, that ain't happening.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I think the takeaway from this 3-part series should be willing to be honest. Right. Number one, be willing to have these real conversations, to ask these real questions. Be willing to be honest, and then be willing to accept their answer. You know, don't hear their answer and then hear what you want to hear. Right. Well, they said no, but I heard a maybe. Like, don't.
No, you heard a no, boo.
Yeah, like, don't play yourself. Right. Like, just be honest with yourself. Be honest with the situation. And I think that these 13 questions will help anyone that's thinking about getting married or even just getting into a relationship, period.
Right. And I believe if you answer these questions honestly, this may help you get out of a relationship. And as painful as that sounds, you know, every relationship may not be for you. That person, like Carl said, may not, you know, be okay with God's no. Yeah. And sometimes that's a hard thing, you know, be okay with his no, because his yes is going to be better than his no. Yeah. And I think you just need to always keep that in perspective. God's yes is greater than your no. Yeah. You know, God knows. And again, like we say, you know, God gives you a choice. He does not pick your spouse for you. He presents you with people, but he will give you the guidance and the wisdom about who you should be actively engaged and involved in. We thoroughly believe that with all of our hearts. God does present you with people. It is up to you to receive all the information to make that informed and wise decision. So we're just telling you, choose wisely, listen, listen to understand, and to hear what they are saying, because it will save you a lifetime of pain. Yeah, it will.
So we appreciate you all for tuning in over these 3-part videos. If you have not watched the first 2 parts that addresses questions 1 through 9, I believe, we want you to go back now that this video is over and watch those first 2 parts. There will be a link at the end that'll pop up on the screen for parts 1 and 2. We appreciate you all for tuning in every Monday for the Loveless Marriage, or whenever you tune in, you know, whenever you're able to catch the podcast. Once again, want to remind you to like this video, like it, hit that thumbs up button, and also subscribe to the video. Also follow us on social media so that you can stay abreast of the Loveless Marriage events. Yes. We will be having events. We'll be hosting events. Yes, you know, and inviting everyone out to come and fellowship with the Loveless Marriage. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
And leave your
Loveless Marriage.
And leave your comments too. We read your comments. We do respond. If you have questions, if you want to talk, please be actively engaged. We want to talk to you. We want to hear you.
Yeah. So until next Monday, we appreciate you all for tuning in to the Loveless Marriage, and we hope that you have a great day and a great week.
Subscribe. Goodbye.